A young billionaire visits his wife's grave every year. But on the 5th year, a beggar girl says, "She's alive, I can prove it." And he falls to his knees in shock. Oak Hill Cemetery was always quiet on Mondays. Liam Gray knew this because he had been coming here every Monday for 5 years. Same time, same path between the headstones, same blue flowers in hand. He stopped in front of the stone that read, "Ilara Gray, beloved wife." The golden letters didn't shine as brightly anymore. Time did that to everything. Liam placed the flowers in the vase. His hands trembled slightly, as they always did. Not from the cold. It was April and the sun warmed the back of his grey suit. It was something else. Something he couldn't name, even after 5 years of trying. "Hi, Ilara." His voice came out hoarse. He always started that way. Then he would stay silent for about 20 minutes, staring at her photo on the gravestone. That smile that made him forget to breathe. The green eyes that seemed to see right through him. "The office is doing well. We won that shopping center project." He spoke slowly, as if she could answer. "You always said I could do it." A light breeze rustled the trees around him. Liam closed his eyes. For a second, he almost managed to pretend she was there, listening. "I still don't know how to move on." The words came out softer now. "Everyone says 5 years is enough time. That you would want to see me happy. But I don't know how to be happy without you." He opened his eyes and looked at the photo again. Ilara was 28 when she died. A car accident on the road to his mother's house. Rain, wet road, a dangerous curve. Her car was found in the lake the next day. The body, never found. No body, no way to be sure, the police had said at the time. But after 3 months of searching, they declared her presumed dead. Liam signed the papers because he had no choice, but a part of him always refused to believe. Today marked exactly 5 years. "I brought your favorite flowers." He adjusted the small blue blooms in the vase. "I remember you saying they looked like pieces of the sky that had fallen to earth." A sound behind him broke the silence. Light footsteps on the grass. Liam didn't turn around. Other people came to the cemetery. He wasn't the only one with ghosts to visit. "Sir." The voice was small, a child's. Liam sighed and slowly turned. A girl stood a few feet away. Maybe 5 years old. Dirty clothes, disheveled dark hair, bare feet. A street child, obviously. They sometimes appeared in the cemetery, begging for money. "I have no change," he said, turning back to the gravestone. "I don't want money." Something in her voice made him stop. It was too steady for a child that young. Liam turned again. The girl was closer now. And he could see her face more clearly. The world stopped. Her eyes were green, sea green, just like Ilara's. The shape of her face, the curve of her eyebrows, even the way she tilted her head to one side when she spoke. It was like looking at a miniature version of his wife. "What do you want?" Liam managed to ask, though his voice sounded strange. The girl looked at the gravestone, then at him. "She's alive." The words fell like stones into the cemetery's silence. Liam felt something icy run down his spine. "What did you say?" "She's alive. I can prove it." The girl spoke with a certainty that gave him goosebumps. No hesitation, no doubt, as if she were talking about the weather. Liam took a step back. This had to be some kind of cruel joke, someone wanting to prey on his pain. "Go away," he said, louder than he intended. "I don't know what kind of prank this is, but my mother sent me." Liam stopped speaking. The girl continued, without taking her eyes off him. "She said maybe now you'd be ready." Liam's heart pounded so loudly he could hear it. This wasn't real. It couldn't be real. "Who are you?" His voice came out as a whisper. The girl smiled. Ilara's same smile. Liam felt his legs give way. "My name is Isa." "Isa." He repeated the name as if it were a foreign word. "And she's my mother." Isa pointed to the photo on the gravestone. "She's told me so much about you." Liam looked at the photo, then at the girl. The resemblance was impossible to ignore, but it made no sense. If Ilara were alive, if she had a daughter, that's impossible. He shook his head. "She died 5 years ago. I saw the car. You saw the car," Isa interrupted him, "but you never saw her." The simplicity of her statement hit Liam like a punch. It was true. He had never seen Ilara's body. He never had real proof that she was dead. Where is she? The words came out before he could think. Far from here, but not as far as you might imagine. Issa stepped closer. Now Liam could see that she had a small scar on her forehead, just like Ilara had since she was a child. The same half-moon-shaped mark. Why did she do this? Liam sat down on the grass beside the gravestone. His legs could no longer hold him. Why let me think she was dead? Issa sat beside him, her dirty clothes contrasting with Liam's immaculate suit. She'll explain everything to you when you meet. And when will that be? Issa didn't answer. Instead, she reached into the pocket of her torn pants and pulled out something small and folded. A photograph. She sent me to show you this. Issa carefully unfolded the photo and held it out to Liam. His hands trembled as he took it. It was Ilara, older than he remembered, with a few grey strands in her dark hair, fine lines around her eyes. But it was her, smiling at the camera, holding a child on her lap, a child who looked exactly like Issa. Liam felt something warm slide down his face, tears he hadn't cried in years. She's real, he whispered. She's really her. Mother said maybe now you'd be ready, Issa said softly. Ready for what? To know us for real, not as a fantasy or a memory. As real people. Liam looked at the photo again, then at Issa. The likeness was undeniable now. You're my daughter, he said. It wasn't a question. I am. More tears came. 5 years. He had had a daughter for 5 years and didn't know it. Mother said one day I would meet you, Issa continued. And now? She thinks you're ready now. I do too. Liam looked at the little hand the girl held out, small, dirty but firm. He looked at the gravestone where he had put flowers every Monday for 5 years. He looked at the cemetery where he had come to mourn a death that might never have happened. If I go with you, he said slowly, and this is a lie. It's not a lie. Issa didn't lower her hand. She's been waiting 5 years, but she'll only appear if you truly want to know us for real. Us, me and her, not as a fantasy or a memory, as real people, with real problems, living real lives. Liam felt something stirring in his chest, something he hadn't felt in 5 years. It was small, fragile, like an injured bird trying to fly, but it was there. Hope. I want to know you for real, he said, and took Issa's hand. The girl smiled, Ilara's smile. Then let's go. They walked in silence along the cemetery paths. Liam looked back once, watching the gravestone grow smaller. For 5 years, that place had been the center of his life, the place where he came to talk to ghosts. Now, for the first time, he was leaving it with someone alive. At the cemetery gate, Issa stopped. Before we go, she said, there's one thing you need to know. What? Mother isn't the same person you remember. 5 years have changed her, changed everyone. Liam nodded. I'm not the same either. I know that's why she thinks now might work. And you? What do you think? Issa looked at him with those all-too-familiar green eyes. I think everyone deserves a second chance, even people who pretended to be dead. Liam almost smiled. Almost. Where do you live? He asked. On the streets. For a while. Alone? Not exactly alone. There are other children. We look out for each other. The thought of Issa living on the streets made something tighten in Liam's chest. If she really was Ilara's daughter, if she really was his daughter. Are you hungry? He asked. Always. Then let's go to my house first. You can take a bath, eat something, and tell me more about your mother. Issa hesitated. And if you change your mind? If you decide you don't want to look for her? Liam looked at the girl, at her green eyes, her dirty clothes, her bare feet, at the courage she had to come to him with an impossible story. I won't change my mind, he said. I promise. And for the first time in 5 years, Liam Gray made a promise he truly wanted to keep. Liam's car was a sleek black BMW, immaculate like everything in his life. Issa looked at it curiously but said nothing. She just climbed into the passenger seat and fastened her seatbelt. Do you know how to use a seatbelt? Liam asked, surprised. Mother taught me when I was little. You're still little, Issa smiled. On the outside, maybe. During the ride to his house, Liam stole glances at the girl. She looked out the window with interest but without astonishment, as if she were used to seeing the world, even though she was so young. "How long have you been living on the streets?" he asked. "About 2 years. "And before that?" "I lived with Mother, in a small place far from the city." "Why did you leave there?" Issa took a moment to answer. "Mother thought it was time. She said I needed to come find you." "She sent you alone?" "I'm not as small as I look anymore." Liam looked at her again. Issa was right. There was something in her posture, in the way she spoke, that showed a maturity beyond her years. As if life had forced her to grow up too fast. Liam's house was in a quiet neighborhood in the city. Large, modern, all glass and concrete. The kind of house that appeared in architecture magazines. The kind of house Ilara always said was too beautiful to be a home. "This is where you live?" Issa asked as they stopped in the driveway. "Yes, it's big. Too big for one person." Issa looked at him. "You've lived alone since she disappeared." "Yes, it must be lonely." Liam turned off the car. "It is." Inside, Issa looked around curiously. Everything was neat, clean, impersonal. Like a showroom. "It doesn't look like anyone lives here," she said. "Why?" "There's no mess. No forgotten things laying around. No life." Liam saw the house through Issa's eyes. She was right. In the last 5 years, he had lived like a ghost. Come, sleep, leave. Never really inhabiting the space. "Do you want to take a bath?" he asked. Issa nodded. "It's been a while." Liam led her to the guest bathroom and fetched some clean towels. He looked for clothes that might fit her, but everything was far too big. "For now you can wear this shirt," he said, handing her a basic white t-shirt. "Tomorrow we'll buy clothes that fit." "Are you sure?" Issa asked. "That you want to help me?" "I'm sure." While Issa bathed, Liam went to the kitchen. It had been a long time since he cooked for more than one person. Actually, it had been a long time since he cooked at all. He usually ate sandwiches or ordered in, but today was different. Today he wanted to make something special. He found eggs in the fridge, bread in the pantry. He decided to make scrambled eggs with toast. Simple, but made with care. When Issa came downstairs, she was wearing his shirt like a dress. Her dark hair was clean and shiny, displaying curls that reminded him of Ilara's. Without the dirt, the resemblance to his wife was even more striking. "You look so much like her," Liam said without thinking. "Everyone says that." Issa sat at the kitchen table. It was a large lightwood table that normally sat empty. With her there, the space felt less cold. "Tell me about her," Liam said, serving the eggs. "How is she? What does she do?" "She works at a small school. She teaches children to read. She always loved books. She has many. She reads to me every night." Liam felt a pang. Ilara reading to her daughter every night. A simple, beautiful routine he never got to see. "And is she happy?" Issa chewed slowly before answering. "She smiles, but sometimes she's sad." "Why?" "She'll explain when you meet." "When will we see her?" Liam asked. The thought of Ilara watching him from afar all those years was both comforting and disturbing. How many times had she seen him in the cemetery? How many times was she close but chose not to appear? "When will we see her?" Liam asked again. "When you want? She's waiting." "Then why not now?" Issa studied him with those penetrating green eyes. "Are you sure that you're ready to see her again?" "I'm sure." "Then we go tomorrow. Today you need to rest, and so do I." "Are you tired?" he asked Issa. "A little." "Do you want to sleep here tonight?" "Tomorrow we'll decide what to do." Issa hesitated. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure. There's a guest room upstairs. You'll be comfortable." Later, after tucking Issa into the guest room, Liam stood at the door watching her sleep. She was curled under the covers, breathing softly and deeply. If she really was Ilara's daughter, his daughter, then he had lost 5 years of her life. 5 years he could never get back. But maybe he could reclaim their future. For the first time in 5 years, Liam Gray went to sleep with something other than sadness in his heart. He went to sleep with hope. And in the next room, A 5-year-old girl slept peacefully, knowing her mission was just beginning. Morning arrived slowly at Liam's house. He woke early, as he always did, but this time it wasn't just habit, it was anxiety. There was a child sleeping next door, his daughter. Liam crept down to the kitchen without making a sound. He made coffee as he did every day, but today he also took orange juice from the fridge. A child would like juice, he thought. He didn't know much about children. In fact, he didn't know anything about children. The sound of bare feet on the stairs made him look up. Issa appeared at the kitchen door, still wearing his shirt as a dress. Her hair was messy on one side, as happens when one sleeps deeply. "Good morning," she said, her voice still husky from sleep. "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" "Better than I have in months." Liam felt a pang in his chest. Months. She had been on the streets for 2 years, but the last months had been worse. "Do you want breakfast?" he asked. "Do you have food?" The simple question hit him like a punch. Of course he had food. His fridge was always full, even if he rarely cooked. But for Issa, having food wasn't guaranteed. "Yes, I have. What do you like to eat?" Issa shrugged. "Anything. I'm not picky." Liam opened the fridge and began taking things out. Eggs, milk, fruit, bread. As he prepared breakfast, Issa sat at the table and watched in silence. "Did you always live in this house?" she asked. "No. I bought it after your mother disappeared." "Why?" Liam stopped stirring the eggs. "The house where we lived held too many memories. I couldn't stay there." "You sold the house where you were happy?" "Yes, I sold it." Issa was quiet for a moment. Mother always talked about that house. She said it had a small garden where she planted flowers. It did. She loved that garden. She still loves planting. Where we lived. She always found a way to have plants. Liam placed the scrambled eggs on Issa's plate. She looked at the food as if it were a treasure. "You can eat," he said softly. Issa began to eat slowly, savoring each bite. Liam noticed she was controlling herself not to devour everything at once. "When was the last time you ate?" he asked. "Yesterday. A lady gave me half a sandwich. And before that, 2 days before, I found some fruit that fell off a truck." Liam sat in the chair next to her. "How did you survive on the streets for so long?" "We help each other, the children who live there. There are older ones who take care of the little ones." "And where do you sleep?" "There are places, under bridges, abandoned buildings. When it's too cold, we go to the train station." Each word from Issa was like a blade in Liam's heart. His daughter, sleeping under bridges, going days without food, living a reality he couldn't even imagine. "Why did your mother let you go alone?" The question came out harsher than he intended. Issa stopped eating. "She didn't let me. I decided on my own." "How so?" "Mother was getting sick. We had no money for medicine. I told her I would come find you." "What kind of illness?" "A cough that wouldn't go away, and she was very thin. Thinner than normal." Liam closed his eyes. "Elara sick, without money for medicine, while he lived in this huge house with everything he needed. She didn't want you to come find me." "At first she didn't. She said it wasn't time. But when she got worse..." Issa stirred the eggs on her plate. "I said I'd come with or without permission. Then she gave me the photo and taught me how to find you." "How did you know where to find me?" "Mother told me about the cemetery, that you went there every Monday. She had seen you there a few times." "She saw me in the cemetery." "A few times, from afar. She never got close because she thought you were okay, that you had moved on." Liam shook his head. "I never moved on. She knows that now." Issa returned to eating. Liam watched her, trying to process everything he was learning. His wife alive but struggling. His daughter on the streets, taking care of herself at 5 years old. "What was your life like?" he asked. "Before you went to the streets?" Issa's face lit up a bit. "It was simple. We lived in a small house outside the city. Mother worked at the village school. She made little wan but enough to live." "And what did you do together?" "In the morning she took me to school. She was my teacher, so I stayed with her all day. In the afternoon we came home and she taught me things. how to read better, how to draw, how to cook. Liam could imagine the scene. Ilara and Isa in a small kitchen, making food together. A simple life, but full of love. And at night? Nights were my favorite. We sat on the porch and she read stories to me. There was a rocking chair she found abandoned. We fixed it together. What kind of stories? All kind. She had many books. She said she brought some from the old house where we lived. Liam remembered Ilara's books. She had hundreds of them. She always said books were her best friends. Some days we only had bread, but she made it feel like a celebration, Isa continued, a small smile on her face. She would warm the bread in the oven and spread butter. She said it was a queen's feast. Isa's voice grew softer, more tender. Mother always managed to make everything feel special, even when there was almost nothing. Liam felt his eyes burn. Ilara, going through hardships, but shielding her daughter from the harshness of reality, turning scarcity into abundance through love. She'd talk about me, he asked, all the time. She said you were the kindest man she ever met, that you designed beautiful houses and had gentle hands. Gentle hands? She said your hands knew how to create beautiful things, and that when you held me before I was born, your hands were always gentle on her belly. Liam stopped breathing for a second. She was pregnant when she pretended to die. She was only a few months along. She said she wanted to tell you, but she was afraid. Afraid of what? Isa hesitated. She didn't like talking about it much. She just said she felt small next to your family, that she didn't feel good enough. Liam thought of his mother, Catherine, of her cold ways with Ilara, of her subtle comments about social differences and incompatibilities. Your grandmother didn't like Mother, he said. It was a statement, not a question. Mother said she thought you two weren't a good match. And what else did she tell you about that time? That you loved each other very much, but the world around you made her feel unsafe. Isa finished her meal and pushed the empty plate away. Can I ask you something? Of course. Do you still love her? The question was simple, but loaded with meaning. Liam looked at Isa, at those green eyes that were just like Ilara's. I never stopped loving her, he said. Not for a day. Then why were you apart for so long? Because sometimes people are afraid to fight for what they love, and sometimes they feel like they're not worthy. Isa nodded as if she understood perfectly. Mother always said that love isn't just wanting good for someone, it's also feeling worthy of receiving love back. The wisdom of that 5-year-old child impressed Liam. Ilara had raised a girl who understood things many adults couldn't. Do you miss her? He asked. Every day, but I knew I had to come. She needed help and you were the only one who could truly help. How did you know I would want to help? Because Mother always said you were good, and when I saw you in the cemetery, bringing flowers to her, I knew she was right. Liam hesitantly reached out his hand. Isa looked at it for a moment, then placed her little hand inside his. Thank you, he said. For what? For coming to find me. For giving me a second chance. Everyone deserves a second chance, Isa replied. Even people who get scared and mess up. They stayed like that for a moment, hand in hand at the kitchen table, father and daughter getting to know each other gently, carefully, like wounded animals, learning to trust each other. When will we see her? Liam asked. Today, if you want. I want to. Then we'll go. But you have to promise one thing. What? That you won't be angry with her. She did what she thought was best at the time. Liam squeezed the little hand of Isa. I promise. And that you won't try to change everything at once. Mother gets scared when things change too fast. I promise that too, Isa smiled, the first true smile Liam had seen on her. Then let's pack your things. The trip is a bit long. What things? I have no things. Liam looked at the girl. She really had nothing but the dirty clothes she wore when she appeared at the cemetery. Then first we'll buy some things for you. Clothes or shoes? You don't need to. I want to, Liam interrupted. You are my daughter. Let me take care of you. Isa studied him for a moment. Are you sure? More sure than anything in my life. And for the first time in 5 years, Liam Gray felt as if he were exactly where he was meant to be. Not in a cemetery, talking to ghosts, but here in his kitchen, planning a future with his living, real daughter. The silence between them was no longer uncomfortable. It was the kind of silence that exists between people learning to love one another, full of possibilities and hope. Outside, the sun shone brighter than it had in years. The BMW left the city while the sun was still low in the sky. Liam had bought new clothes for Issa at the mall store that opened earlier. A small pair of jeans, a pink t-shirt, white Velcro sneakers. She had chosen everything carefully, touching the fabrics as if they were treasures. Now she sat in the passenger seat, wearing her seatbelt, looking out the window with curiosity. The new clothes made her look more like a child and less like a street survivor. "How long until we get there?" Issa asked as they left the last city buildings behind. "About 3 hours," Liam replied. "In a hurry?" "A little. Mother must be worried." "Does she know you're with me?" "Not exactly. She knew I was coming to find you, but didn't know if you would agree to come." Liam looked at Issa in the rearview mirror. "And if I hadn't agreed? I would have tried to convince you until you agreed." "And if you still said no?" Issa thought for a moment. "Then I would go back to her and we would find another way." "What other way?" "I don't know. But we always find a way." The simple confidence of Issa impressed Liam. At 5 Juin, she had already learned that life required creativity to survive, that when one plan fails, you make another. "Were you always this brave?" he asked. "Mother says yes, that I was born fearless." "Fearless of nothing." "Well, I'm afraid of some things. Storms scare me. And total darkness too." "Anything else?" "Mother getting too sick." Issa's voice dropped. "Sometimes she coughs a lot at night, and I lie awake listening." Liam felt his chest tighten. "How long has she been coughing?" "About 6 months. At first it was little, but it got worse." "And you didn't take her to a doctor?" Issa looked at him as if the question was strange. "Doctors cost money. We didn't have any." Of course. Liam sometimes forgot that not everyone lived like he did, that for many people, seeing a doctor was an impossible luxury. "When we get there, we'll take her to a doctor," he said. "You would do that?" "Of course, she is. She still is important to me." Issa smiled. "I knew you still cared about her. How did you know?" "By the photo, you cried when you saw it." "You noticed?" "I notice everything. Mother taught me to pay attention to people. She says eyes tell more truths than words." They drove in silence for a while. The road was beautiful, passing through green fields and small towns. Issa watched it all with interest, as if seeing the world for the first time. "Can I ask something?" she said after a while. "Sure." "Do you have other children?" "No, just you." "And do you have a girlfriend?" "No." "Why not?" Liam thought of his answer. "Because I could never forget your mother." "Did you never try?" "I tried a few times, but it didn't work." "Mother never dated anyone else either?" "No." "No." She said she had already met the love of her life and didn't need to look for another. Issa's words warmed Liam's heart. Even after 5 years, even amid hardships, Ilara still considered him the love of her life. "What do you like?" Liam asked, changing the subject. "What do you mean? What things do you like to do? Games, activities?" Issa thought for a moment. "Drawing." "What do you like to draw?" "Houses, animals, sometimes people." Liam felt something stir in his chest. "Houses?" "Yes, I draw different houses. Some big, some small, some with gardens, some with porches." "I'm an architect," Liam said, trying to sound casual. Issa turned to look at him. "Really?" "Yes, I draw houses too, only they actually get built." "I guess I take after you," she said, smiling. And then it happened. Liam smiled back. Not the polite smile he used at work, or the sad smile he showed when someone tried to comfort him. It was a different smile, warm, genuine, full of paternal pride. It was the smile of a father discovering a connection with his daughter. "Do you have drawings with you?" he asked. "I didn't bring any. They're back home. When we return, will you show me? You really want to see them?" "I really do." Issa settled back into her seat. "Mother always said you would like my drawings. She talked about me often, all the time." She told me stories about when you lived together, about trips you took, movies you watched. What kind of stories? She liked to talk about the day you met. She said you were in a bookstore and she bumped into you and knocked over a pile of books. Liam remembered that day perfectly. Ilara had turned red with embarrassment, apologizing as she gathered the books. He had offered to help, and they ended up talking for 2 hours right there among the shelves. And what else did she tell you? About Sunday mornings, how you two would stay in bed late, reading the newspaper and having coffee. She remembers that. Remembers everything. The way you made scrambled eggs, the perfume you wore, the brand of coffee you bought. And what else did she tell you about me? That you were kind even when you were angry, that you never yelled, and that you had a special way of looking at her that made her feel like the most important person in the world. Liam felt his eyes sting. She was the most important person in the world. She knows that. That's why it hurt so much to leave. Do you understand why she did it? Isa was silent for a moment. I understand that sometimes people do the wrong things for the right reasons. And what was her right reason? She wanted to protect you. And me. Protect from what? From having to choose between her family and the family you already had. Liam thought of his mother, of the constant pressure, of comments about Ilara not being suitable for the Grey family. I would have chosen you, he said. She knows that now. But at the time she was scared and pregnant and felt very small. You're very wise for a 5-year-old. Mother says I grew up too fast, that she wanted me to be just a child for longer. And you? What do you want? I want us to be a family, the 3 of us together. The simplicity of Isa's wish touched Liam deeply. It wasn't complicated. She didn't want wealth or luxury. She just wanted a complete family. Do you think that's possible? He asked. I do, if everyone wants it. And do you think everyone wants it? I want it. Mother wants it, even though she's scared. And you. And me. You wouldn't have come if you didn't want to. They stopped at a gas station to fill up and buy snacks. Isa picked a packet of cookies and a juice box. Liam noticed how she held the items carefully, as if they were precious. At the cashier, she was quiet while he paid. Outside, she asked, "Why did you buy these things for me?" "Because you were hungry. But you barely know me." Liam crouched to her level. "I may not know you yet, but you're my daughter. And parents take care of their children, even when they only find out they have children yesterday. Especially then." Isa hugged him suddenly, a quick but tight hug. "Thank you," she whispered. Back in the car, they continued the journey. Isa ate the cookies slowly, savoring each one. Liam realized she still wasn't used to having guaranteed food. "We're almost there," she said as they began to pass through a more rural area. "How do you know?" "I recognize the road. Mother brought me here a few times." "She brought you to see me?" "No, just to see the places you used to visit." Liam looked around. They really used to come to this area on weekends. Ilara liked the fresh air and tranquility. "Are you nervous?" Isa asked. "A little, and you?" "Me too, but it's a good kind of nervous." "How do you mean?" "It's like when you know something very good is going to happen, but you're not sure how it will be." Liam smiled again. That new smile, full of fatherhood. "You're right. That's exactly it." The road began to narrow, passing by small farms and simple houses. The sun was higher now, warming the day. "At the next bend," Isa said, "you'll see the sign for the village." Liam felt his heart race. In a few minutes, he would see Ilara again. After 5 years believing she was dead, he would finally look into her eyes once more. "Do you think she'll be happy to see me?" he asked. Isa looked at him with those familiar green eyes. "I'm sure she will." And when the sign for the small village appeared on the road, Liam knew his life was about to change completely again, this time for the better. The village was small, dirt roads, simple houses, some children playing in the central square. The kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and life moves slowly. Liam drove cautiously, following Isa's directions. His daughter was restless in the seat, looking around everywhere. "It's there," she said, pointing to a light blue house at the end of the street. "Teacher Clara's house." "Teacher Clara? That's the name Mother uses here, Clara Santos." Ilara had changed her name, of course. To fake her death, She needed a new identity. Liam stopped the car in front of the house. It was small, simple, but well cared for. It had a porch with 2 wooden chairs and a small garden with flowers, blue flowers. "She still plants the same flowers," he murmured. "She said they reminded her of someone special." Issa jumped out of the car even before he turned off the engine. She ran toward the house, her new sneakers crunching on the dirt. "Mother!" she shouted. "Mother, I brought him!" The front door opened, and a woman appeared on the porch. Liam felt the world stop. It was Ilara, thinner than he remembered, with shorter hair and a few grey strands that weren't there 5 years ago. But it was her. The same green eyes, the same gentle smile, the same way of tilting her head when she was surprised. Issa ran to her and threw herself into her arms. Ilara hugged her tightly, but her eyes were fixed on Liam. Liam stepped out of the car slowly, as if he were dreaming. Each step toward the house felt like an eternity. Ilara set Issa down and took a step forward, then stopped. As if an invisible wall kept her from moving closer, they stared at each other for long seconds. 5 years of longing, pain, and unanswered questions hung in the air between them. Tears began to spill down Ilara's face, silent, like a gentle rain. "You came," she said, her voice trembling. "She brought me," Liam replied, looking at Issa. Issa stood between them, looking from one to the other, as if she were a human bridge connecting 2 people who loved each other but had been lost to each other. "I told him you were alive," Issa said. "I showed him the photo." Ilara looked at her daughter, then at Liam again. "You believed her?" "At first I didn't. I thought it was some kind of cruelty. And now I'm here." Ilara wiped her tears with the back of her hand. "Come in, please." Inside, the house was even smaller than it looked from the outside. A living room, a kitchen, 2 small bedrooms, everything clean and organized but simple. Very different from the large and modern house where Liam lived. There were books everywhere, on shelves, stacked on the floor, on the table. Ilara had always been that way, surrounded by books as some people are surrounded by expensive furniture. "Would you like some coffee?" Ilara asked, her hands trembling slightly. "I would." Issa sat on the small sofa, watching the 2 adults move around the house like cautious dancers, each aware of the other's movements. "How did you find me?" Ilara asked as she prepared coffee. "I told him everything," Issa replied before Liam could speak. "About the cemetery, about you being sick, about everything." Ilara looked at her daughter with a mix of pride and concern. "You shouldn't have come alone, but I did. And it worked." "It worked?" Ilara looked at Liam. "It worked." Liam nodded. "She stayed at my house last night, ate well, slept in a real bed." "Thank you," Ilara said quietly. "You don't have to thank me. She's my daughter." The words hung in the air. My daughter. Liam had said it with a certainty that warmed Ilara's heart and frightened her at the same time. They drank their coffee in silence. Issa told her mother about her new clothes, about Liam's big house, about the food he had made for her. "He made scrambled eggs just like you used to," she said excitedly. "Just the same way." Ilara smiled. "He's always been good at cooking." "You remember?" Liam said. It wasn't a question. "I remember everything." After coffee, Issa said she wanted to show her drawings to Liam. She ran to the bedroom and came back with a folder full of papers. "Look," she said, spreading the drawings on the table. "These are the houses I told you about." Liam looked at the drawings carefully. They were simple, done with colored pencils and markers, but there was something special about them, an intuitive understanding of proportion and space that impressed him. "She has talent," he said to Ilara. "She really does. She's always drawn since she was little." "I think she takes after me," Issa said, repeating the phrase she had said in the car. Ilara looked at Liam, then at her daughter. "I think so too." The afternoon passed slowly. Issa showed him the entire house, told him about the school where Ilara worked, about the friends she had in the village. Liam listened to everything, but his eyes always returned to Ilara. She was different, not just thinner or with different hair. There was a serenity in her that hadn't existed before, as if the 5 years had taught her to find peace within herself. but there was also a fragility. Liam noticed how she coughed discreetly, how she avoided taking deep breaths, how her hands trembled when she thought no one was looking. When dusk fell, Issa said she was tired. Ilara tucked her into bed and stayed in the room for a while, speaking softly to her. Liam waited in the living room, looking at the books on the shelves. Many he recognized. They were books Ilara had had when they lived together. "She's asleep," Ilara said as she returned to the living room. It was a long day for her. For all of us. Ilara sat in the armchair, keeping some distance from him. "Do you want to know why?" "I do. Where do I start?" "At the beginning." Ilara took a deep breath, and Liam realized how much effort it cost her. "I was never accepted by your mother, you know that." "I know. But it was worse than you imagined. She didn't hide that she thought I wasn't good enough for you, that our social difference would end up destroying our marriage." Liam closed his eyes. "She never should have said that to you. But she did, several times, and I began to believe it." "Why?" "You knew I loved you." "I knew that. But love sometimes isn't enough. I felt small in your family. Out of place. As if I was always trying to prove I deserved to be there." Ilara stopped to cough, a dry cough that made her bend over slightly. "You okay?" Liam asked, leaning forward. "I'm okay. Just let me continue." "All right. So I discovered I was pregnant. Those were the best and worst days of my life at the same time." "Why?" "Because I wanted so much to tell you. I dreamed of your reaction, of what our family would be like. But at the same time, I was afraid of your mother's reaction, afraid that a child would make everything more complicated, afraid that you would feel trapped." Liam shook his head. "I never felt trapped with you. I know that now. But at the time I was full of insecurities." Ilara stood and went to the window. She looked out at the dark village street. "That day, when I left home, I had decided I was going to tell you about the pregnancy when I returned. I even thought about what I would say." "What happened then?" "The car. On the road, it started making strange noises. Then the brakes failed on a curve." Liam felt his stomach drop. "You were hurt?" "Not much. I got out before the car sank into the lake. But I hid, watching the firefighters arrive. People searching." "Why? Why didn't you come forward?" Ilara turned to look at him. "Because at that moment, watching all that chaos, I realized I had a chance. Her chance to disappear before things got too complicated." "Complicated how?" "Liam, I would have to tell your mother I was pregnant. I would have to face pitying looks from your friends. I would have to live always justifying myself, always trying to prove I deserved to be in your life." Liam rose to his feet. "You deserved it. You always deserved it. I know you believe that, but at the time I couldn't believe in myself. Then you took advantage of the accident to pretend you were dead. I took advantage of the scare and vanished. I didn't run from you, Liam. I ran from a world that erased me." Ilara's words echoed in the small room. Liam understood then. She hadn't run from him. She had run from the constant pressure of not feeling good enough. "And then I came here. I got new documents, invented a story about being widowed. I got a job at the village school. I raised our daughter. Alone." "Alone?" They were silent for a moment. The weight of 5 years of absence between them. "Do you know the pain you caused me with your absence?" Liam asked, his voice low but full of emotion. Ilara turned to face him fully. "I know. Issa told me you went to the cemetery every Monday, that you never stopped loving me. Then why didn't you come back?" "Because the longer time passed, the more impossible it seemed. How could I show up after 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? How could I explain that I let you suffer for so long? You were scared. I was terrified, afraid you would hate me, afraid you had moved on, afraid that our daughter wouldn't be welcome in your life." Liam took a step toward her. "Do you know what it's like to hide your daughter because she wouldn't be welcome?" His words hit her like a blow. Ilara covered her face with her hands. "I didn't know if you would want her. I didn't know if your family would accept her." "My family?" Liam laughed bitterly. "Ilara, My family is you and Isa. Always was. And your mother? My mother lost the right to have a say in my life the moment she made you feel unwanted. Ilara looked at him through her fingers. Are you serious? Completely serious. She lowered her hands. Tears streamed freely now. I made a terrible mistake, didn't I? Liam stepped closer. You were afraid. People who are afraid do things they normally wouldn't. Can you forgive me? There's nothing to forgive. You did what you thought was best at the time. But what about you? All that suffering? The suffering is over. You're alive. We have a beautiful, smart daughter. The rest will rebuild. Ilara looked at him as if she was seeing a ghost. Do you really want to try again? I want to spend the rest of my life making up for the 5 years we lost. And if it doesn't work, if we're too different now, then we'll find out together. But this time, we'll face the problems together too. Ilara took a hesitant step toward him. Are you sure? I'm more sure than anything in my life. She came closer. Now Liam could see the small details that had changed, the fine lines around her eyes, the small scar on her forehead she didn't have before, the rougher hands of someone who works hard. You're sick, he said softly. A little, nothing serious. Ilara, just a persistent cough. It'll pass. Tomorrow we'll go to a doctor. You don't have to. You do. You're too important to me to take any chances. She smiled through her tears. You still think I'm important? In response, Liam extended his hand, as he had with Isa in the cemetery, as he had when they were young and in love. Ilara stared at the outstretched hand for a long moment, then slowly placed her hand in his. The touch was electric. 5 years disappeared in an instant. They were again that couple who loved each other without reservation, dreaming of a future together. I missed you so much, she whispered. You have no idea how much I missed you. They embraced then. It was not the desperate hug of lovers reunited after a journey. It was the careful hug of two wounded people learning to trust each other again. They held on as if they were holding something very fragile and precious. What do we do now? Ilara asked, her head resting on his chest. Now we talk. We plan. We decide how we'll be a family. And your mother, your friends, everyone who will ask questions? I'll handle that. What matters is what the three of us want. And you sure of what you want? Liam stepped back a little to look into her eyes. I want to wake up every day knowing that you and Isa are safe and happy. I want to watch our daughter grow. I want to grow old by your side. I want a second chance to be the man you deserve. You've always been the man I deserved. I just couldn't see it. Then let's see it together now. Ilara smiled, the first true smile since he arrived. All right, all right, all right. Let's try. From the small bedroom came a muffled sound. Isa coughing. Ilara immediately let go of Liam. She sometimes coughs at night. She must have inherited it from me. Liam followed Ilara to the bedroom. Isa was asleep, but restless. Ilara adjusted the covers and stroked her daughter's hair until she calmed down. She is perfect, Liam whispered. She is. Despite everything, she grew up perfect. Because of you. You did an amazing job. I tried, but it was hard alone. You're not alone anymore. Ilara looked at him. Promise. I promise. They returned to the living room. It was late, but neither wanted to sleep. There were 5 years of conversation to catch up on. Where do you want us to live? Liam asked. I haven't thought about that yet. Do you like it here? I like it. It's simple but peaceful. Isa has friends. I like my job. Then we can stay here, or split time between here and the city. You would do that. Leave your life in the city. My life is where you two are. Ilara gently touched his face. How can you say that after all I put you through? Because I love you, I always have. And now we have a chance to make it work for real. Will it be different this time? It will. Because this time, we know that love alone isn't enough if it's not accompanied by courage. Courage to face those who try to keep us apart. Courage to fight for what we want. And if I get scared again, then you tell me, and we face the fear together. Ilara leaned into him again. I love you so much. I love you too. I always loved you. even when I thought it was best to pretend I didn't. I know. They stayed like that, embracing on the small sofa in the simple house while the village slept around them. Two adults who had lost 5 precious years, but now had the chance to reclaim their future. From the bedroom came Issa's gentle breathing, the living proof of the love they shared. The reason to fight for this second chance. Tomorrow, Ilara said sleepily. We'll go to the doctor, the 3 of us together. The 3 of us together, Liam agreed. And for the first time in 5 years, he fell asleep not with a sense of loss, but with a sense of completeness. His family was back. Different, marked by time, but back. In the next room, Issa slept peacefully, knowing her mission had succeeded, that she had brought back not just a father, but an entire family. The small village house, which for 5 years had housed only a mother and daughter struggling to survive, was now a home where 3 people could finally learn to live again. Liam returned to the city on a Monday, but not to stay. Ilara and Issa had come with him, and now they were staying in a hotel while Ilara underwent medical tests. The diagnosis was reassuring, just a respiratory infection that antibiotics would fix. But Liam wanted to make sure she received the best care. Now he had an unpleasant task ahead. He needed to go to his mother's house. The grey mansion stood in the city's most upscale neighborhood. Liam had grown up in those enormous rooms, among expensive furniture and freezing silences. It was a house that impressed visitors, but never felt like a real home. Catherine Gray was in the living room when he arrived, as she always was at that hour. 65 years old, grey hair always impeccable, posture so straight it never relaxed. She was reading a book, but Liam knew she had heard the car arrive. "Liam," she said without lifting her eyes. "What a surprise. You haven't shown up here in months." "Hi, Mother." Catherine finally looked at him. Her gaze was critical, as always, examining his appearance, his posture, searching for flaws. "You look different," she said. "I do. More relaxed, less melancholy." Liam sat in the armchair facing her, the same armchair where he used to sit as a child, interrogated about school grades or misbehavior. "I have good news," he said. "What kind of good news?" "Ilara is alive." Catherine stopped breathing for a second. The book slipped from her hands and fell into her lap. "What did you say?" "She didn't die in the accident. She's alive, and I found her." Catherine quickly composed herself. She was a woman used to controlling her reactions. "That's impossible. She died 5 years ago. You signed the papers yourself. She faked her own death, and I understand why. You understand?" Catherine straightened even more in her chair. "A woman fakes her own death, leaves her husband suffering for 5 years, and you understand?" "I do, because I know how you treated her." The ensuing silence was heavy. Catherine and Liam stared at each other for long seconds, as adversaries assessing their strength before a battle. "I never treated that woman badly," Catherine finally said. "Never treated her badly. You just made it clear she wasn't welcome in this family. She wasn't suitable for you, Liam. And you know that." "Suitable according to whom?" "According to any person with common sense. You came from completely different worlds." Liam stood up from the armchair. He could no longer remain seated. "So what? I loved her. She loved me. Isn't that enough?" "Love doesn't pay bills, Liam. Love doesn't maintain social standing. Love doesn't build empires." "Empires?" Liam laughed sharply. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the Grey name, about the company your father built, the position our family holds in this city." "And what does that have to do with Ilara?" Catherine rose from her seat as well. Even at 65 now, she was still imposing. "It has everything to do with it. A wife reflects her husband. And that woman has a name, Ilara. Ilara, then, she lacked the education, elegance, refinement required to be a Grey's wife." "Refinement," Liam echoed the word with disgust. "You're talking about refinement regarding the kindest, smartest, most loving woman I ever met. Kindness doesn't compensate for a lack of class, Liam. And class doesn't compensate for a lack of humanity, Mother." Catherine looked at him as though he had committed a blasphemy. "Don't give me that. I dedicated my entire life to building something for you to inherit. The company, the social standing, the right connections. I never asked for any of that. You didn't have to ask. It's yours by right. It's your legacy. And if I don't want that legacy? What do you mean? Liam took a deep breath. The moment of truth had arrived. Elara and I have a daughter, Issa. She's 5 years old. Catherine recoiled as if struck. A daughter? A beautiful, intelligent daughter who draws houses like I used to when I was a kid. You're sure she's yours? Catherine's question was like a blade. Liam felt anger rise in his chest. Don't you dare question that. Liam, think carefully. A woman who lies about her own death is capable of... Stop. Now, Catherine saw something in her son's face that made her fall silent. Issa is my daughter, and Elara is the woman I love. We will rebuild our family. And where exactly do you intend to live? How do you intend to live? That's none of your business. Of course it's my business. You're my son. You have responsibilities. My only responsibilities are to my wife and daughter. Catherine walked to the window, turning her back to him. Are you going to throw it all away? She asked, her voice lower. That legacy drove me away from the only woman who truly loved me. Liam, be reasonable. Think about what you're doing. I am thinking... For the first time in 5 years, I am thinking clearly. Catherine turned to him again. There was something different on her face. Fear, perhaps. If you do this, if you choose her over the family... Over the family. Mother, Elara and Issa are my family. You know what I mean. I do. And my answer is the same. Catherine approached him. For the first time, Liam saw vulnerability in her eyes. You are my only son, she said, her voice cracking slightly. Liam looked at her. The woman who raised him, educated him, dedicated her life to shaping the man she thought he should be, but who never tried to understand the man he truly was. And yet you lost me, he said calmly. The words fell like stones in the silent, elegant room. Catherine opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out. You lost me the moment you made Elara feel unwanted, Liam continued. You lost me when you put appearances above your own son's happiness. Liam, I got lost because I wanted to live a life I chose, not the life you chose for me. Catherine sat down heavily on the armchair. For a moment, she seemed smaller, more fragile. I just wanted what was best for you. What's best for me is being happy. And I'm happy with them. And if it doesn't work out, if you regret it, then I'll deal with the consequences. But at least I'll have tried to live the life I chose, not the life you chose for me. Catherine was silent for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice sounded different, older, more tired. What do you want from me? Nothing. I'm just letting you know I'm leaving. Where to? Away from here, to a place where we can start over without the weight of other people's expectations. And the company. Sell it, donate it, do whatever you want. I never wanted to be part of it. Liam, please think this through. Liam walked toward the door. He stopped before leaving and looked back. You had 5 years to find me, to try to understand my pain, 5 years to support me while I suffered. But you never did. You only cared about maintaining appearances. I didn't know how to help. You could have started by not judging the woman I loved. Catherine looked at him with tears in her eyes. And now? I won't see you anymore. That depends on you. How so? If you can accept Elara and Issa as part of this family, you will have a place in your granddaughters' lives. If you can't, Liam shrugged. Then you'll have your appearances to keep you company. Liam left the house without looking back. On the steps outside, he took a deep breath. The air felt cleaner, lighter. In the car, he called Elara. How did it go? She asked. Difficult but necessary. Did she understand? She will have to understand, or accept that she lost a son. Are you sure about what you're doing? Liam looked at the mansion where he grew up. Grand, imposing, cold. Then he thought of the simple hotel where Elara and Issa waited for him. Simple, welcoming, full of love. I'm more sure than anything in my life. I love you. I love you too. I'm on my way. Liam started the car and drove toward the future. Behind him, He left a name he had carried for 32 years, but that never truly belonged to him. For the first time in his life, he was free to be exactly who he chose to be: a husband, a father, a man who prioritized love over status, a free and whole man. The grey mansion stayed behind, majestic and empty, like a monument to values Liam could no longer respect. And in the city, in a simple hotel, a woman and a child waited for him. His true family, his real legacy. The house was on the market for months before Liam found it. It was in a quiet neighborhood, not far from the city center, the kind of place where children played in the street and neighbors knew each other by name. It was a 2-story house with a front porch and a large backyard. White walls, blue windows, a small swing hanging from the backyard tree. Nothing extravagant, but cozy. The kind of house that begged to be a home. Liam called the real estate agent on a Thursday. By Friday, he was signing the papers. That was fast, the agent commented as Liam signed the final document. When you know it's the right house, you don't have to think much, Liam replied. Ilara and Issa waited in the car. They didn't know about the purchase. Liam wanted it to be a surprise. All set, he said when he returned to the car. We have a new home. What do you mean? Ilara asked. I bought this house, for us. Issa looked at the house with the porch and garden through the window. Her eyes lit up. It's really ours. It's really ours. Can I get out of the car? You can. Issa ran out and went straight to the swing in the backyard. She climbed on it as if it had always been hers. Ilara got out of the car more slowly, looking at the house in disbelief. Liam, are you sure? It's perfect for us. Come, I want to show you inside. Inside, the house was even better. A spacious living room, but not too big. A kitchen with a window to the garden, 3 bedrooms upstairs. Everything clean, bright, ready to be inhabited. The master bedroom is here, Liam said, opening the door to the largest bedroom. It overlooks the garden. Ilara entered the room and went to the window. Down below, Issa was still playing on the swing. And the other bedrooms? One can be an office, the other, Liam smiled. The other will be Issa's. They climbed the stairs slowly, Issa running ahead. The room that would be hers was at the front of the house, with 2 large windows letting in abundant light. This will be my room, Issa asked, twirling in the empty space. It will? What do you think? It's big. Too big. No. It's perfect. That afternoon, while Ilara unpacked their things in the master bedroom, Liam went out to do some shopping. He had a specific mission: turn an empty bedroom into the dream room of a 5-year-old girl. First stop, paint store. Issa had said her favorite color was yellow, like the sun. Liam bought a light yellow paint for the walls and white paint for the ceiling. Second stop, furniture store. A small bed with a house-shaped headboard, a low desk where Issa could draw, a shelf for books and toys, a colorful chest to store treasures. Third stop, toy store. Liam had never bought toys before, but something inside him knew exactly what to look for. Colored pencils, markers, paper blocks, puzzles, a few stuffed animals, a doll with dark hair like Issa's. Last stop, home decor store. Animal-themed prints, a moon-shaped lamp, yellow curtains with white stars, a fluffy rug where Issa could sit and draw. When he returned home, the car was loaded. Ilara helped him unload everything, her eyes wide. Liam, this is too much. It's just the beginning. The beginning of what? The 5 years of gifts I missed. That night, after Issa slept in the master bedroom with them, Liam set to work. He painted the walls carefully, each brushstroke thinking of the smile Issa would make when she saw the result. Ilara offered to help, but he said he wanted to do it alone. It was something he needed to do with his own hands. A father preparing his daughter's first real room. He worked late into the night, stopping only when Ilara insisted he rest. The next day, he kept at it. He assembled the furniture, arranged the toys on the shelf, hung the prints on the walls. He put up the curtains, placed the lamp, spread the rug. When he finished, it was late Saturday afternoon. The room was ready. "Issa," he called. "Come here. I want to show you something." Issa ran up the stairs, Ilara behind her. Liam stood at the bedroom door with his hand on the doorknob. "Close your eyes," he told Issa. "Why?" Trust me." Issa closed her eyes. Liam opened the door and flipped on the light. "You can open them now." Issa opened her eyes and stood at the doorway. Her mouth formed a silent "Oh." The room was transformed. The yellow walls glowed in the afternoon light. The small bed was made up with colorful sheets and fluffy pillows. The desk had paper and pencils waiting. The toys were neatly arranged on the shelf like little treasures. "Is this mine?" she whispered. "It's all yours." Issa stepped in slowly, touching the things as if they were too fragile to be real. She sat on the bed, tested the desk chair, opened the decorative chest. "I never had a room," she said, her voice full of wonder. "I never had all this." Liam knelt beside her. "Now you do. Because you deserve it." "I do," she asked. "You deserve all this and so much more." Issa looked at him for a long moment. Then she threw herself into his arms, hugging him tightly. "Daddy," she said, the word muffled against his chest. Liam felt tears fill his eyes. It was the first time she called him that. Simply, naturally, without hesitation. He didn't need words. His eyes said everything. The love, the gratitude, the promise that he would never let her lack anything again. Ilara stood in the doorway, watching the scene with tears in her eyes. When Issa finally released her hug, she ran to show every detail of the room to her mother. "Look, Mommy, a house-shaped bed, and look at these pencils, so many colors." "It's beautiful, my love," Ilara said. "Your father did an amazing job. Can I sleep here tonight?" "Of course you can." That night, Issa slept for the first time in her own room. Liam and Ilara stood at the door for a few minutes, watching her nestled among the colorful pillows. "Thank you," Ilara whispered. "For what?" "For making her feel special, for showing her she deserves good things. She truly does. And so do you." In the following days, the house came alive. They woke to the smell of coffee made by Ilara, had breakfast together at the kitchen table. Issa ate cereal from a pink bowl Liam had bought especially for her. After breakfast, as Liam worked from home, he had decided to be a freelance architect to have more flexibility. Issa spread herself out on the living room rug with her drawings, paper and pencils everywhere, her tongue sticking out when she was focused. "What are you drawing today?" Liam would ask. "A new house," was usually the reply. "What does it look like?" "Big enough for a whole family, with a porch to sit on and a garden to play in." Liam smiled. Issa was drawing their house. After lunch, it was nap time. Not that Issa would admit to napping. She said she was resting her eyes. Liam carried her to the bedroom, covered her with a blanket, and she slept clutching her new doll. These were Liam's favorite moments. The house was quiet. Ilara napped in their bedroom, and he could work in peace. But he also had to check on Issa, just to make sure he wasn't dreaming, that they were actually here. In the afternoon, when Issa woke, it was time to show her drawings to Liam. She'd come running down with the papers in hand. "Daddy, look what I made." Liam dropped everything to look. He studied each line like the architect he was, but commented with the heart of a father. "This window here is perfect. And look how you detailed the garden. You think I draw well? I think you have a lot of talent, and that you'll be an amazing architect if you want to be. Like you. Better than me." Issa smiled and ran to show her drawings to Ilara. That night, after dinner, they sat on the porch. Issa on the swing, Liam and Ilara in the chairs they had bought for it. They talked about the day, weekend plans, about nothing and everything at the same time. "This house is beautiful," Issa said one of those nights, swinging slowly. "It is," Ilara agreed. "It's ours," Liam said, looking at the two most important people in his life. Ilara looked at him, then at Issa. She saw something beautiful happening between father and daughter. A connection being built, drawing by drawing, conversation by conversation, hug by hug. She saw how Liam looked at Issa when the girl wasn't paying attention, with admiration, with tenderness, with a paternal love that grew each day. She saw how Issa sought Liam whenever she wanted to show something important, how she had begun to call him Daddy naturally, without effort. The two of them were a bridge, connecting the wounded past with a hopeful future, healing each other's wounds just by being in each other's lives. You know what I like most about this house? Isa asked. What? Liam and Ilara asked in unison. That it has space for everyone to be happy at the same time. It was a simple observation from a 5-year-old, but it carried a deep wisdom. Liam's old house was large but cold. The little village house was cozy but too small for big dreams. This house was different, large enough to breathe, yet small enough to feel intimate. It had spaces to be together, and spaces to be alone when needed. It was a house for a family. "Can I ask a question?" Isa said one morning while drawing on the rug. "Sure," Liam replied, looking up from his laptop. "Did you always want to have children?" The question took him by surprise. "I did, especially after I met your mother." "And now that you have a real daughter, is it how you imagined?" Liam closed his laptop and sat on the floor beside her. "It's better." "Why?" "Because I didn't know I would enjoy seeing you draw so much, or hearing your questions, or discovering how you think. And I didn't know I would enjoy having a daddy so much," Isa said, still drawing. "You didn't. Mother always said you were special, but I thought she was exaggerating because she loved you so much. And now I think she wasn't exaggerating at all." Liam smiled and tousled her hair. "How you're special too, you know. Am I? The most special girl in the world. More special than all the other kids. To me, yes. To me, you're one of a kind." Isa stopped drawing and looked at him. "Daddy?" "Yes?" "Thank you for giving me a room." "You're welcome. And thank you for giving me a family. Thank you for letting me be part of your family too." That afternoon, Ilara was in the kitchen preparing dinner when she heard laughter from the living room. She peered around the door and saw Liam and Isa on the floor, both drawing. Isa was teaching Liam how to draw a butterfly. "No, Daddy, the wings have to be symmetrical. Like this. Better. Now draw the antennae. Is this good?" "Perfect. You're learning fast." Ilara leaned against the doorframe, watching. She saw a connection forming that moved her. Liam had adapted to fatherhood as if he had always known how. And Isa had embraced his presence as if he had never been absent. They were a bridge, the two of them. A bridge over the 5 lost years. A bridge between what was and what could be. "Dinner," she called. "We're coming," Isa replied. "Just teaching Daddy to paint first." "Is Daddy learning fast?" Ilara asked. "Yes. He's almost as good as me." "Almost," Liam protested playfully. "Okay, you're good, but I'm still better." "For now," Liam said. "But I'm practicing." "You can practice after dinner," Ilara said. "Let's eat." During dinner, Isa talked about the drawing she was making for Father's Day at school. "I'm going to draw you, me, and Mommy in our new house," she said. "With the garden and the porch and everything." "And what are you going to write?" Ilara asked. "I'm going to write 'My family is perfect.'" Liam and Ilara exchanged glances. Perfect was a strong word. They knew they weren't perfect. They were still learning to be a family, still had insecurities and fears. But maybe perfect wasn't about having no problems. Maybe perfect was about having people who love you despite the problems. "And is it?" Liam asked. "Is your family perfect?" "It is," Isa replied without hesitation, "because we have everything a family needs." "And what does a family need?" "Love, a home, and time together." Simple as that. In a 5-year-old's mind, a perfect family was love, a home, and time together. Nothing more complicated. After dinner, they sat on the porch as they always did. The garden was blooming nicely with the flowers Ilara had planted. Blue flowers, like the ones Liam used to bring to the cemetery. "You know what I think?" Isa said, swinging on the swing. "What?" Liam asked. "That we've always been a family. We just didn't know it." "How do you mean?" "Mother always talked about you, you always thought about her, and I always existed. We were just in different places." Ilara smiled. "You're right. And now we're in the same place." "And now we're in the same place," Liam agreed. Life began to bloom for real in that house. Not just survival, as they had done for the last 5 years, but truly living, waking up with joy, going to sleep grateful, finding reasons to smile in the small moments of each day. The house with a porch and garden became the home none of them had imagined possible. The dream room of Isa became a symbol that dreams could indeed come true. And a family once separated by fear and misunderstandings finally learned that love, accompanied by courage and honesty, was truly enough to build anything, even a second chance. 3 months after moving in, the house had found its rhythm, not the hurried rhythm of the city or the survival pace that Ilara and Isa knew so well. It was a new rhythm, gentle, made of small moments that added up to entire days of happiness. Liam woke up first, as he always had. But now, instead of dressing quickly to escape the silence of the house, he would go down slowly to the kitchen and make coffee for 3. The aroma would waft up the stairs and wake Ilara. She would come down in a robe, still sleepy, and they would have their first cup together in silence, looking out at the garden through the window. Isa was always the last to wake. She would appear in the kitchen in pajamas, with messy hair, seeking a lap before seeking food. Liam would lift her into his arms and she would laugh, still drowsy. It was his favorite sound in the whole world. "Good morning, princess," he would say. "Good morning, daddy," she would reply, snuggling into his arms for her glass of milk. After breakfast, each would go about their day. Liam to his home office, Ilara tending to the garden or reading on the porch, Isa drawing in the living room or playing in the backyard. But they always reunited for lunch. It was Ilara who started. She would enter the kitchen and begin pulling ingredients from the fridge. Liam would appear shortly after, offering to help. Isa would come last, dragging a chair to reach the sink and wash the vegetables. "I can cut the tomatoes," she always said. "You're only 5, Liam would protest, almost 6. "And mother taught me," Ilara would nod, and Liam would hand Isa the small knife, always keeping an eye on her. They cooked together. Ilara seasoned. Liam stirred the pans. Isa washed everything they dirtied. 6 hands working in harmony, 3 people creating something together. "How about pasta today?" Ilara would suggest. "With tomato sauce," Isa would add. "And cheese," Liam would add. "Lots of cheese," they would say together, laughing. It was simple, but there was something magical in that simplicity, in the way Isa rose onto her tiptoes to stir the sauce, in the way Liam guided her hand over the spoon, showing her the right movement, in the way Ilara watched the two of them and smiled. After lunch, while Ilara rested, Liam and Isa did the dishes together. She would sit on a stool next to the sink, soaping the dishes while he rinsed. "Daddy, can I ask something?" "Always." "Are you happy?" The question, out of nowhere, caught him off guard. "I am very happy." "Why?" "Because you smile differently now." "Differently how?" "Before you only smiled with your mouth. Now you smile with your eyes too." Liam stopped rinsing a glass and looked at her. "And you? Are you happy?" "I am. Mother is too." "How do you know?" "She hums while she cooks. She only does that when she's truly happy." On Saturday afternoons, when the weather was nice, they had picnics in the backyard. Ilara spread a blanket under the tree. Liam carried the basket with sandwiches and fruit. Isa brought her drawings to show. They sat on the grass and ate slowly, unhurried. Isa talked about the friends she made at her new school. Ilara talked about the books she was reading. Liam shared stories about the projects he was working on. "I'm designing a house for a family with 3 children," he said during one of those picnics. "What will it be like?" Isa asked. "Big, with 4 bedrooms, a playroom and a large yard. Like ours." "Bigger than ours." Isa thought for a moment. "I like ours the way it is." "Why?" "Because it's big enough for us not to bump into each other, but small enough for us to always find each other." Ilara smiled. "She's right." "Our house is perfect just as it is," Liam agreed. After the picnics, Isa played on the swing while Liam and Ilara sat on the blanket, talking or simply enjoying the silence. Sometimes, Ilara rested her head on his shoulder and they just watched their daughter play. "I never thought it could be so simple," she would say. "What? To be happy? I thought happiness was always complicated, full of conditions." "Isn't it?" "No. It's this. You, me, her, sun on our faces, grass under us." Liam kissed the top of her head. It's more than I ever dreamed of having. On Sunday mornings, they stayed in bed until late. Issa would appear in their room and snuggle between them, still in pajamas. The three of them would talk or play with no rush to start the day. What time is it? Ilara would ask without opening her eyes. 9:30, Liam would reply. It's still early. It is, Issa agreed, snuggling closer between them. They stayed like that for another hour, sometimes two, just enjoying being close, the warmth of their bodies under the covers, the feeling that they were a real family. When they finally got up, they made a special breakfast. Pancakes in fruit, freshly squeezed juice. They ate on the porch, still in pajamas, listening to the birds in the garden. Sunday is the best day, Issa would always declare. Why? Liam would ask, even though he already knew the answer. Because no one is in a hurry to go anywhere. During the week after dinner, they created a ritual. Ilara would play soft music on the kitchen radio. Liam would bring in the laundry from the line. Issa would organize her drawings from the day. The music filled the house gently, nothing too loud or flashy, just a soundtrack for the end of the day. Ilara would hum along while folding clothes. Liam would whistle while putting things away. Issa would draw to the music, her tongue out when she was focused. What song is this? Issa would sometimes ask. It's old, Ilara would reply. From when your father and I were dating. Did you dance? Sometimes. Can you dance now? Liam would extend his hand to Ilara, and they would dance right there, in the living room, among scattered toys and drawings on the floor. Simple steps, nothing elaborate. Just two adults who had rediscovered the pleasure of being in each other's arms. Issa would watch, smiling, sometimes asking to dance too. Liam would lift her and she'd dance with her feet in the air, laughing. They were the simplest and at the same time the most perfect moments. One night, after one of those music and dance sessions, they were in the living room tidying up. Issa had flopped onto the sofa, tired from the day. We don't need much, she said suddenly, looking at the ceiling. What do you mean, sweetheart? Ilara asked. To be happy, we don't need much. We just need peace, and us together. Her words came naturally, as if she were a philosopher disguised as a 5-year-old. Liam and Ilara stopped what they were doing and looked at her. You're right, Liam said. I know I am, Issa replied, yawning. Mother always said the best things in life don't cost money. And what are the best things? Ilara asked, sitting on the edge of the sofa. Hugs, laughter, soft music, homemade food, bedtime stories. Anything else? Waking up knowing the people you love are close by. Liam sat in the armchair, looking at the two of them. Ilara brushing Issa's hair, Issa speaking about the simple things that made life worthwhile. And knowing that tomorrow will be like today, Issa continued, her eyes slowly closing, but maybe a little bit better. In a few minutes, she was asleep. Her face relaxed, breathing steady. A child who had known lack and insecurity, but who now slept peacefully, knowing she would wake up in the same place, with the same people. Liam rose to carry her to bed, but Ilara signaled for him not to move. Let her sleep here tonight, she whispered. She looks so peaceful. Liam took a blanket and covered Issa gently. Then he sat back in the armchair. Ilara came close, and they stayed there watching their daughter sleep. They said nothing for a long time. They simply exchanged a serene look, full of gratitude and contentment. A look that said everything they needed to say, that they had found what they were searching for, that they were where they belonged, that they had everything they needed. The music played softly on the radio. Outside, the wind gently rustled the garden trees. The house breathed around them, welcoming and secure. Life, at last, tasted like home. Not the kind of home you buy or build, but the home you create with love, patience, and presence. The home that exists wherever people truly love each other and choose to be together one day at a time. Liam looked around the living room. He saw Issa's drawings scattered about, the rumpled sofa cushions, the blanket that had slipped from her lap. He saw Ilara curled up beside him, both of them nearly asleep. It was imperfect and messy and completely ordinary. It was exactly perfect. I love you, he whispered to Ilara. I love you too, she whispered back. And so, in the house with a porch and garden, a family continued the quiet work of being happy, one day at a time, together. It was a Thursday afternoon when the doorbell rang. Isa ran to the door, but Ilara stopped her. Let's see who it is first, she said, looking out the window. A woman stood on the porch, back turned. Grey hair, hunched posture, clothes that looked too large. Liam, Ilara called, recognizing Catherine. Liam descended the stairs and stopped when he saw his mother outside the window. When he opened the door, he barely recognized her. The woman on the porch seemed smaller, more fragile. She had lost weight and her skin had an odd pallor, but what struck him most was the expression on her face. There was no arrogance, only fatigue. Hi, Liam, she said, her voice softer than usual. Hi, Mother. Catherine looked at Ilara and Isa behind her son. Ilara, she said, nodding. Catherine, Ilara replied, neutral but not hostile. Catherine looked at Isa. And you must be Isa. The girl nodded, half hiding behind her mother. May I come in, just for a few minutes? Liam hesitated, looked at Ilara, who shrugged. You may, he said. Catherine entered slowly, as if each step cost an effort. She looked around the living room, seeing Isa's drawings, Ilara's books, the family photos. It's a beautiful home, she said. It seems so welcoming. Would you like to sit? Ilara offered. Catherine sat carefully. Liam and Ilara remained on the sofa, Isa leaning against her mother. How did you know where to find us? Liam asked. I asked your former partner. And why did you come? Catherine took a deep breath. I didn't come to accuse, I came to ask. The phrase took Liam by surprise. His mother never asked for anything. Ask for what? Catherine looked at her hands. When she lifted her eyes, they were wet. I'm sick, she said simply. The silence was heavy. Isa moved closer to Ilara, who pulled her into her lap. What kind of illness? Liam asked, softer. Cancer. Pancreatic cancer. The doctors say I don't have much time left. Liam felt as though he'd been punched. How long? A few months, maybe a year. Ilara hugged Isa instinctively. And I don't want to spend my remaining time alone, Catherine continued, her voice breaking. Liam looked at her, truly fragile now. Mother, I was wrong, Liam. I was so wrong. Tears began to fall. I spent so much time worrying about appearances that I forgot what truly mattered. She looked at Ilara, then at Isa. I forgot that you deserve to be happy. That love was more important than status. Ilara felt her eyes sting. But I don't want to die as someone who only knew how to push away, Catherine continued. I want to try to be different, if you'll let me. Liam looked at Ilara. She nodded slightly. What exactly are you asking? He asked. For a chance, to truly know my daughter-in-law, to know my granddaughter, to try to be the mother you deserved. After everything, precisely because of everything, I know I cannot fix the past, but maybe I can at least not ruin the future. Liam looked again at Ilara, who nodded almost imperceptibly. We won't erase what happened, he said slowly. We won't pretend there wasn't hurt. Catherine nodded. I understand. But if you want to stay in it slowly, you can try to be part of this. Catherine closed her eyes, relieved. Slowly, she repeated. I promise. Isa slipped from Ilara's lap and approached Catherine. Grandma, she asked. Yes, I'm your grandmother. Are you sad? I am, but also relieved. Why? Because you let me come in. Even though I was hard to deal with, Isa thought, then ran to the garden. She returned with one of the blue flowers Ilara had planted and held it out to Catherine. Everyone deserves love, she said firmly, even those who take a long time to understand. Catherine took the flower with trembling hands. She looked at the 5-year-old who had just offered her more forgiveness than she deserved. Thank you, she whispered. You're welcome. Mother says flowers make people feel better. Your mother is right. Catherine looked at Ilara. Thank you for raising such a wise child. She truly is special, Ilara agreed. May I visit you sometimes? You may, Liam said. So maybe stay for lunch. We prepare lunch with 6 hands here, Issa explained. Now we can do it with 8 hands. Catherine laughed, a sound Liam hadn't heard in years. At the door, she turned one last time. Thank you for giving me a second chance. Everyone deserves a second chance, Issa said. After Catherine left, they stayed on the porch. Issa was in Liam's lap, drowsy. Are you sure about what we did? Ilara asked. I'm not, Liam replied. But our daughter was right. Everyone deserves love, even those who take a long time to understand. And if she can't change, then at least we tried, and Issa will know that we chose forgiveness. Daddy? Issa stirred. Yes, Princess? Do you think Grandma will enjoy visiting us? I think she will. And if she gets too sick, who will take care of her? Liam and Ilara exchanged glances. If she needs us, we'll help, Ilara replied. Good, because that's what families do. They take care of each other. And so, in the house with a porch and garden, a family reunited made room for one more person. Not because it was easy, but because it was right. Because forgiveness was the only way to turn wounds into healing. Life, which already tasted like home, now also tasted like redemption. And rediscovered time, whether much or little, was always enough to start over. The blue flowers in the garden swayed in the night breeze, as if dancing for joy. Flowers of forgiveness, flowers of hope, flowers of second chances. And inside the house, a family slept peacefully, knowing that love, when accompanied by courage to forgive, always finds a way to prevail. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next ones. Leave a like, because it helps this story get recommended to more people. See you in the next story.